Hi, my name's John Deere from Adorable Ideas. In this tutorial, we're going to show you how to apply a great new product that'll be sure to put a sparkle in anybody's eye. Here you can see we have regular machine embroidery in combination with rhinestones or nail heads. And the way it works is you do the regular machine embroidery first, and then we're going to apply a template that is going to fit directly over top of the embroidered image. And it's going to give you a product that's going to be dazzling. Okay, now we're going to show you how easy this is. The first thing that we have to do is hoop our garment. So we're going to take a hoop size that is comparable to the embroidery size that we're going to be using, and I'm going to place this down underneath, visually in place. Now I'm going to take my stabilizer, which I'm using a no-show mesh, and we're going to place that on top of the hoop, and we just have to work it in there. We want to make sure that all of the embroidered areas are stabilized. And then we're going to just pull out and flatten out our piece, making sure that the stabilizer isn't crossing over itself. Now once that's in place, then we just have to make sure that it's sitting nice and flat. And I can see my stabilizer is moved, so I'm going to move that into place. Once the stabilizer is flatly into place and I can feel it, I'm going to take my top hoop and I'm going to place it inside. And I want to make sure that I don't pull or stretch the fabric. Because this is such a low density design, if I pull on the fabric, then the rhinestones or nail heads will not match up when we iron them on. So now my garment is hooped and I just have to take it to the machine. Okay, now I've loaded my design into the machine and I've chosen the right colors. Now what I want to do is place my hoop within the machine itself. Now because this is a tubular machine, I'm able to go in through the arm and I'm able to slide the embroidery in place. Now what I want to do is I want to make sure that all of the garment is out of the way underneath, because I don't want to sew through the actual embroidery. Now I'm already in place, so all I have to do is press the start button and my design will start running. Great, now that the embroidery is done, we'll just take that off the machine. And as you can see, this design looks great all by itself. Now if you notice, I've changed some of the colors on the design because I want it to be more vibrant. If you like purple, you could do purple roses or any other color that you wish. So we're going to remove this from the hoop. And keep in mind that this also is a very low stitch count design, so you're not going to have a lot of movement within the garment itself. You won't have much stretch or pull, so you don't have to worry about the embroidery distorting. Now what I want to do is I want to lie this flat again on my surface, and I want a nice hard surface, and I want to make sure that everything is laid down nice and flat. Okay, there we go, and we'll get rid of that hoop mark later. Now what I want to do is I want to take my sparkler, and you can see that there's a white piece and a clear piece. Now these two, you just peel one off from the other, and just check to make sure that there aren't any little glitters left on the white piece, because this is a little tacky and you can actually place those nail heads or those sparklers back into place. Now I can use that as my template, and I'm going to put it right over top of my embroidered item, and I can just sit there and stretch it up a little bit, and because it's sticky, you can put those into place. Now once it's down and it's pretty much where I want it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of material and place it over top. And once it's placed over top, I'm going to take an iron, and I want to make sure that the iron is on high heat and that there's absolutely no steam. Then I'm going to go over top of my surface area, and if I just check, because I know that it's going to cover the whole thing, I'm going to hold that down with quite a bit of pressure for about 45 seconds. We're going to flip it over, and we're going to apply heat from the back side. So we're going to cover with the material, And remember, there's absolutely no steam on the iron at a high heat, and we're going to press and hold for 45 seconds. Okay, now that we're done, I'm going to remove that and I'm going to flip it back over, and as you can see, the plastic is a little bit rippled. That means that it's held. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a kitchen utensil. You can either use a mallet or you can use a spoon, and I'm just going to apply some pressure to the actual sparkles. And this is just going to make sure that the glue will set. Now if you do this properly, this becomes machine washable. These sparkles will not come off, so you want to make sure that you're doing this while the design is still nice and hot. Now once that's done, I'm just going to let this cool. I have to let it cool completely. I don't want there to be any warmth. It has to be nice and cold, and then I'm going to peel this top piece off. Now we want to make sure that those rhinestones have cooled down completely. We don't want them to be warm, because what you've done is you've heated up the glue and it's attached to the fibers of the material. So if there's any warmth left at all and you start pulling that up, then the rhinestones aren't going to stay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to just grab a corner, and I'm going to very carefully and slowly start pulling this back. And as I pull them back, you're going to see that the rhinestones stay. Now if one of the rhinestones happens to come up, you can always place it back on this sheet and iron it again. But now you can see that this low stitch count design has gone from just regular embroidery to something that adds a sparkle. Okay, now doesn't that look beautiful? Okay, I'm not going to put this on for you because you've already seen me use an iron and cooking utensils, and I think that's just about enough for one day. Now, you don't have to limit that to just doing garments. As you can see here, we have a nice pillow which will fall into home decor, and you have the blonde flapper, and she's been put directly on a pillow, and then we've adhered the sparklers to that as well. So you can have a lot of fun and be really creative with this process. Now, when you get this design pack, you're going to get the embroidery file and your first sparkler to do it. But you don't have to limit it at one. You can actually buy replacement sparkles, and you can do as many projects as you want. So I hope you have a great time with this new process. It's lots of fun, and just be creative.